I want to say, as somebody who's transgender and has attempted suicide before, it is not at all because of people like you.
Look, when you buy into the notion that there is a category such as trans women, well, it's not a real category, it's just a man.
Gender dysphoria is very much a real thing that people struggle with.
Whenever we lie, because that's fundamentally what it is, if we lie about the nature of reality, we bring about chaos in our world. Over 40% of people who identify as transgender attempt suicide. What I'm here to do is to say to you, Maddie, that ideology will not satisfy you. It will not satisfy you. And everyone who's telling you that you should pretend to be a woman to match your feelings, I would say they're wrong. You were born a man, I'm assuming.
Yes.
You're born a man. To dress up as the opposite sex is an abomination before the Lord. And he came to rescue people from that lifestyle. That's what Jesus did. And so he can rescue you from that. I'm great. Remind me your name again.
Maddie.
Maddie, okay, great to meet you, Maddie. I've got some propositions here.
Okay.
I'm a Christian. I believe that Christ is king. I believe that Christ is king of America. And I believe that one day every single knee will bow and every tongue will confess Jesus is Lord. And I believe that it's Christians' duty to do their best to advance the kingdom of heaven on earth as it is in heaven. That's what our Lord taught us to pray. So I want to know if there's any propositions here that you have a problem with.
I first want to say, for the most part, I agree with you.
Nice, Maddie. And you can come up to the mic a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you for the most part. The one I wanted to touch on was transgender ideology must be eradicated. I don't like the word eradicated for that.
Sure.
Because, so I'm a Christian, and I agree with everything you've said so far. But also, I think it's important to note that gender dysphoria is very much a real thing that people struggle with. I do agree that transgender ideology, like being forced upon people, especially in like younger like K through 12 education, is wrong. But I think at the end of the day, we live in a free country, and I think if you're not pushing your, I guess, agenda on anybody else, you should be able to express yourself freely however you wish. But I think the term saying it should be eradicated is too far. I agree that as somebody who's transgender, I agree that it shouldn't be forced upon people, and it kind of is right now. But yeah, I just want to say that I agree. I just don't appreciate, but I don't agree with the word eradicated and how it should be applied to the real world. But also I wanted to say, I guess ask your opinion is, as somebody who is transgender, but does not like pursue that in like my lifestyle or any, like the LGBTQ community gets a really bad rep for being very chaotic, loud, obnoxious, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
And I hate that. I think that's terrible.
Well, I think that's awesome that you can address that and that you can admit that. I think that's a good start to a conversation for sure. I can get going on an answer if there's anything more specific or pointed.
No, I just want to know your opinions on my viewpoint.
All right. So for anyone who wants to know what he was pointing out here, he agreed with most of it, but he disagreed on the terminology that transgender ideology must be eradicated. And I use that word very intentionally and very precisely because I do believe that it is an ideology that is essentially rotting out our culture and it's ruining the lives of children and lots of other people. So I understand the hesitancy with the term eradicated. It sounds scary. And to that I would say, yes, I mean, I want it root and branch completely eradicated from American life. And let me tell you why. Because it's fundamentally it's false. Now you said that you were transgender.
Yes.
I want to know, what do you mean by that?
So do you know what gender dysphoria is at all?
I know what the term is.
That's all you need to know. So
how would you describe what gender dysphoria is?
To keep it simple, is the feeling of discomfort with your body due to gender norms, essentially. Would you agree with that, I guess, definition of it?
Oh, definition of
gender dysphoria is just the feeling of discomfort due to
societal gender norms?
Yes.
Okay, if that is what gender dysphoria is, what I would say is the cure to that is not to tell you that you are something that you're not.
Yeah.
So if I were to say, I feel deep in my heart of hearts that I'm a paraplegic, well, one, I have all my arms and legs, so I'm objectively not that.
Yeah.
So, but what we're doing in our society today is in the realm of gender, we're saying that yes, even you feel like a paraplegic, we should cut off your arms and legs. In fact, we should have an entire medical industry that makes millions off of people who are confused about whether or not they are paraplegics or not. And so we've created an entire industry that capitalizes on people's mental health problems. And so what I would say to you is, if you have a sense of discomfort in your own body, one, that's hard, that sucks, and that is the result of sin. That's the result of brokenness in our world. And so what I would say is, the solution is not to say, therefore, you feel discomfort. I mean, imagine, we used to do this with children. Children says, I don't feel comfortable in my own body. We say, well, sweetheart, say little Susie. We say, well, sweetheart, God made you just the way you are. You're special, you're unique, and we want you to feel comfortable in your own body. That's how we used to do it, but now we say, you're right. God messed up on you. You're in the wrong body. That's evil. That's evil to do to a child. So if little Susie says, I feel like a boy, we say, I know you feel like that, sweetheart, and you're allowed to play with trucks, but that doesn't mean you're a boy. It means that you're a confused girl. And so I think whenever we lie, because that's fundamentally what it is, if we lie about the nature of reality, we bring about chaos in our world. And so just look at men and women's sports, and these are things that seem like you're against. Like, I don't know, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I am against trans women being in men's sports. And
well, see, even there's like a confusion on like,
exactly.
what words do I say? You know what I mean? But when you buy into the notion that there is a category such as trans women,
yeah.
Well, it's not a real category. It's just a man.
No, I agree.
Yeah, and so but because as a society we have entertained that lie, people have been abused. I don't know if you heard the Wee Spa incident where a convicted child molester goes into Wee Spa into the women's section, fully looking like a man but identifies as a woman, disrobes with his erect you know what in front of a little girl.
Yeah.
And they attacked the little girl and the mother. They said, you're being transphobic. How outrageous is that? That was in Wee Spa in California 2 years ago. Okay, that's what's going on. I know you're not in favor of that.
No, I completely agree.
What? One of many examples.
I agree. Yeah. Your example. I agree with what you're saying.
And so what I want to get at you, what I would challenge you, Maddie. Yes. You can come next. I would like to talk to you about Maddie and I have thank you for the way you approach this conversation. So what I would say to you, Maddie, just on a personal level.
Yeah.
You are very reasonable. You've come up and you have admitted a lot of true things. What I want to challenge you, because you said that you identify as trans, what I would say is you should not live by lies.
I agree.
I know.
And I don't necessarily enjoy the fact. I'm not proud of my identity.
I see that in you.
At all.
Let me challenge you here. I can see that. You're very humble. You're coming up to and having a legitimate conversation. What I would say to you is all of the people, the culture around you that is trying to say that you will actually be satisfied, you will be happy, you will be at peace with yourself if you start calling yourself by a different gender, that is a lie. I know this because I have a dear friend of mine who I've become very close with over the last several weeks, who he dressed up as a woman for 10 years and lived that way. And he just became a Christian. And the joy, the incredible joy, the peace that he has now is astounding. Not only that, but he looks back and acknowledges the fact that I was living in darkness. I didn't want to feel like that. He still struggles. Even he still says, sometimes I want to go get my nails done because I want to feel that way. But he recognizes that there's no satisfaction in the lie. And so what I'm here to do is to say to you, Maddie, that ideology will not satisfy you.
Yeah.
It will not satisfy you. And everyone who's telling you that you should pretend to be a woman, or, yeah, that's what it is, pretend to be a woman to match your feelings, I would say they're wrong. And what I want to say is, you were born a man, I'm assuming.
Yes.
You're born a man. Yeah. You're born a man. God made you a man on purpose. And
yep.
If you accept that reality and live into that, you will find a measure of peace that you cannot find if you're lying to yourself. And number two, it will be really hard to do it alone. And what I mean by that, you said that you identify as Christian?
Yes.
Okay. If that is the case, I would encourage you with this. The Bible is very clear. We would say cross-dressing.
Yep.
And you're not even cross-dressing. I wouldn't even say you cross-dress. You just strike me as a guy, a cool guy.
Yeah.
You're like a nice guy.
Yeah.
So whenever you said trans, that doesn't really register.
Yeah.
But the Bible is very clear. To dress up as the opposite sex is an abomination before the Lord, and he came to rescue people from that lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's what Jesus did. And so he can rescue you from that. I'm not saying it will be easy.
No, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes. No, and I've heard this all before, and I agree with.
It seems like it's more of a struggle than you're just giving
yes,
into it.
No, it's more of a struggle is what I was trying to get across.
Okay.
I just think the term eradicated
okay, that's
is
great.
that you shouldn't deny the struggle.
It seems harsh.
Because there definitely is a struggle with some people.
Yes. Okay.
And that was my, I guess, argument.
So, yeah, I see what you're saying. And what I would say is, do we want murder eradicated from our society?
100%.
Yes. And so eradicated is a strong word, but I believe it's a strong word for an incredibly important topic.
Yeah.
So I believe this ideology is leading children down a path that is leading them to suicide. 40%, over 40% of people who identify as transgender attempt suicide. That is insane. Okay, listen, I know that's the rebuttal. A lot of people will say.
I want to say, as somebody who's transgender and has attempted suicide before, it is not at all because of people like you.
Okay. Listen. He just said, as someone who identifies as that, it is not at all because of people like you. Now, listen, that's true. Because do you guys know the suicide rate for Jews during the Holocaust? No. Why am I saying that? Because they were oppressed way more than any trans person, right? Can we agree? Listen, can we agree that Jewish people in the Holocaust are more oppressed than trans, quote unquote, people in the United States? I'm asking if that's. I'm just asking.
Yes.
Is that true? Listen. Whenever if you're trying to have a dialogue or a logical debate, you have to set out examples to figure out what other people say. Okay, I'm going to finish with you if you guys want to talk. So you agree with that?
Yes.
So this is.
Let's still have people speak when they come up.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so getting back to the eradicated bit. I believe that we must use strong language to attack an ideology that is leading people down the path to suicide. Okay?
Yeah.
A dear friend of mine said he wished to God that people like me had done this